Why does the thing you want most always seem just out of reach? Why does working harder sometimes leave you with less? And why do the right opportunities, the right people, and the right circumstances seem to appear only after you finally stop forcing them? If you have ever felt this way, you are not doing something wrong. You may simply be doing too much. We live in a world that glorifies relentless pursuit. Chase your goals. Push harder. Never stop. And yet, for many people, the harder they chase, the more exhausted and empty they become. More effort, more anxiety, more control. But somehow, less progress, less peace, and less of everything they were chasing in the first place. More than 2,500 years ago, the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu understood something that most people today have forgotten. He called it Wu Wei. Loosely translated, it means acting without unnecessary force. But do not mistake it for laziness, passivity, or weakness. Wu Wei is not about doing nothing. It is about doing what is necessary, without the desperation, rigidity, and exhausting need to control everything around you. In this video, we will explore 6 lessons of Wu Wei that could change the way you pursue success, handle relationships, and move through life. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may reveal that what you have been calling discipline is actually the very thing quietly working against you. 1. Chasing creates resistance. Think about the last time you desperately wanted something: a job, a relationship, a result. Now think about how you felt while pursuing it. Tense, impatient, constantly checking, constantly calculating. That feeling, that tightness, is not just emotional. It affects the quality of every decision you make and every action you take. When desperation enters your pursuit, clarity leaves. You stop noticing better opportunities because you are too fixated on the one outcome you have already decided must happen. You stop listening because you are too busy pushing. Lao Tzu wrote that the one who tries to grasp everything often ends up holding nothing. Focused action is powerful. Desperate action is unstable. The obstacle is not always the distance between you and your goal. Sometimes it is the tension with which you are pursuing it. 2. Wu Wei is not laziness. Before we go any further, this needs to be said clearly. Wu Wei is not an excuse to avoid effort, responsibility, or ambition. It is not about waiting for life to deliver what you want. It is not passivity dressed up as philosophy. Watch a skilled musician perform. Watch an experienced athlete move under pressure. They are not passive. They are deeply active. But their actions carry no stiffness, no panic, and no unnecessary resistance. They are in what modern psychology calls a flow state. That is Wu Wei in practice. The difference between laziness and Wu Wei is simple. Laziness avoids action altogether. Wu Wei removes the friction and fear from action. The goal is not to stop moving. It is to stop wasting your strength by moving against everything, including yourself. 3. Become like water. Water is the most powerful image in all of Taoist philosophy, and Lao Tzu returned to it again and again. Water does not attack what stands in its way. It moves around obstacles. It adjusts to whatever shape surrounds it. It waits when it must. And it continues without panic. And yet, water carves canyons. It shapes stone. It finds a way through everything, not by force, but through persistence and adaptability. Many people suffer not because they lack ambition, but because they are attached to one specific path toward their goal. When circumstances change, they continue forcing the old plan because changing direction feels like failure to them. But Lao Tzu would say the opposite. Adaptability is not surrender. It is intelligence. What is rigid breaks. What knows how to bend continues. continues. 4. Release your obsession with the outcome. There is a quiet kind of destruction that happens when your mind lives permanently in the future. When will it happen? What if it doesn't work? Why is it taking so long? Every moment spent there is a moment taken away from the action happening right now. People look for external validation before they have even done the work. They measure their progress every day, even when progress sometimes takes months to become visible. They compare their chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. And slowly, without even realizing it, they abandon the process because the results feel too slow. Lao Tzu taught that a person who is fully present in their actions is far more powerful than someone whose mind is already anxious about the result. Your goal can guide your direction, but it should never become a chain around your mind, making every day feel like a failure until the final moment arrives. 5. Stop forcing people and relationships. Wu Wei applies to human connection just as much as it applies to ambition. And this is where many people cause themselves the most pain. They chase attention. They over-explain. They pursue affection from people who are quietly showing them, through every interaction, that the affection simply isn't there. They try to force commitment, earn approval, or extract apologies that never come. The more they push, the more they lose their dignity. And often, the more they push the other person away. Lao Tzu understood that genuine connection needs space. A relationship that requires you to constantly perform, beg, or abandon your own boundaries just to survive is already showing you its truth. Wu Wei in relationships does not mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means allowing people to show you who they are, without trying to rewrite what they are showing you. What truly belongs in your life should not require you to disappear from it, just to stay. 6. Empty space makes effective action possible. Most people are terrified of stillness. The moment things slow down, they fill the silence with more plans, more messages, more decisions, and more attempts to control what is uncertain. But Lao Tzu compared the mind to muddy water. Muddy water does not become clear by stirring it harder. It becomes clear when it is left undisturbed. Clarity rarely arrives in the middle of noise and panic. It arrives in the pause. The person who can sit with uncertainty long enough to observe clearly, without reacting, without forcing, and without demanding immediate answers, acts with far greater precision when the moment finally calls for action. This is the heart of Wu Wei. Not permanent stillness, not permanent movement, but knowing the difference between the two. Pause first, observe clearly, then act decisively. Because the person who cannot tolerate stillness will almost always mistake anxiety for progress. So, should you stop pursuing your goals? Should you abandon your ambitions, walk away from your dreams, and simply wait for life to arrange itself? No. What Lao Tzu asks you to abandon is not the pursuit. It is the desperation, the rigidity, and the exhausting belief that everything must be forced, controlled, and demanded on your timeline. Wu Wei does not ask you to remove direction from your life. It asks you to remove the unnecessary suffering you have wrapped around it. Here are 5 principles to begin practicing Wu Wei today. 1. Choose your direction clearly, but remain flexible about the path that takes you there. 2. Act on everything within your control and consciously release what is not. 3. Never make an important decision from a place of panic or wounded pride. 4. Stop pursuing people who consistently show you, through their actions, that they do not value your presence. 5. Measure your progress by the quality of your effort, not only by results that have not yet arrived. Because here is the final truth. The most powerful people are not always the ones who pushed the hardest. They are the ones who knew when to act, when to wait, when to adapt, and when to walk away. Surrendering control is not the same as surrendering responsibility. You do not achieve more by fighting every current. You achieve more by learning which current can carry you forward. The next time you feel the urge to chase, force, or control, pause. Ask yourself one question. Is this action coming from clarity or from fear? Move without desperation. Work without destroying yourself. Love without begging. Pursue without clinging. And if you want more lessons on Lao Tzu, Taoist philosophy, human psychology, emotional discipline, and the hidden principles of a life well lived, subscribe now. Because sometimes the greatest transformation begins not when you add more, but when you finally release what was never necessary.